In the long run, we psychologists analyzed which of those strategies can help psychological health. And we know that there are a lot of different strategies, and some of those strategies help people to stay healthy or to get psychological healthy, and some of those strategies don't help to keep psychological health. So you could try avoidance as an emotion regulation strategy. So whenever there's a meeting with this colleague you are always arguing with, you could just stay away from this meeting. Or you could try problem solving. If you take all your skills that you have concerning the job you are doing and try to solve the problems at hand. This is also a strategy that might make you calmer, because if you have solved the problem, for instance, the quarrel with your colleague, talking with him or her to solving the issues, then this would also lead to you being more relaxed afterwards. You could also distract yourself. So imagine if you are at a meeting with this colleague you are always arguing with, and you are in the middle of such an argumentation, then you could just close your eyes for a second, breathe, or look out of the window for a second. This is also a good strategy to get relaxed for a short period of time. A very good strategy, which has proven very healthy and very effective, is reappraisal. There are several techniques here doing reappraisal. For instance, you could reinterpret the situation. You could try to find a different meaning in the behavior of this colleague who is always quarreling with you. Or you could try to distance yourself from the situation. You could say, okay, there is this struggle going on, there is this dispute, but it has nothing to do with me. It's just about the fact, about the content of the project. It's not personal. This is a very effective strategy. Another possible strategy is rumination. You could ruminate about the project, about the disputes. Some people do this in the evening, but this is not a very good strategy to reduce your emotional feelings, because mostly it increases the tension and the anxiety. The expression of your emotions I already mentioned, so you could just express what you feel, and mostly others would support you afterwards. You could also accept that you feel tensed in such a situation. So you don't have to regulate at all. This sometimes leads to a more relaxed feeling immediately, because this struggle against feelings, for instance, hide feelings or doing something against feelings, is very exhausting and could increase your negative feelings again. And you could, of course, suppress your emotions, don't show them to other people. This sometimes is also effective in reducing emotions, but sometimes is appropriate in some situations. For instance, if this person you are arguing with or you have a disagreement with is your boss, it might not be that appropriate to show every feeling you have. And we have findings that all those regulation strategies have a different impact on psychological health. Avoidance has a negative impact on psychological health, because people that avoid most negative situations get a step back from social life. Yeah. If you think about people having social anxiety, they don't approach social situations, and this has negative impacts on their psychological health, because they don't have that much positive situations anymore. Problem solving has a very positive impact on psychological health, because if problems are solved, we are feeling better, of course. Distraction could be a good strategy to reduce negative emotions, but sometimes it's also detrimental, because if we always distract ourselves from our emotions and the negative situations, we don't get them solved. Reappraisal, as I already mentioned, has a very positive impact on psychological health. And rumination, which is kind of a negative reappraisal, so always wallow in the negative things that happened at this day or last week or the last years, leads mostly to being more negative, to being depressed. Acceptance and expression of emotions has been proven positive for psychological health. And suppression of emotions can be appropriate in some situations, but if this is the only strategy we use, it's negative for psychological and even physical health. Now, there are gender differences in the suppression of emotions. I want to have a look in more detail at suppression of emotions. We know that men more often suppress their emotions than women do. Here we see a study that investigated in several different samples of participants how often men and women suppress their emotions. And in each of those samples of participants, the women say that they are less suppressing their emotions than the men. And this is also true if we only ask people that have a leading position. But as we see here on the left, here the difference between men and women in suppression of their emotions is not that big than in the slide before. So it seems that if women have a leading position in an organization, they might choose to more often suppress their emotions. And as I already said, this might be detrimental for psychological health in the long run. So if we always suppress our emotion, it's not healthy. And the expectancies at leaders are mostly that leaders should be emotional intelligent. And this is not the same thing than suppressing our emotions. In contrast, it's emotional intelligence means that we are able to perceive and also identify our emotions. And if we always suppress them, it gets more difficult to really perceive what we are feeling. And not only emotional intelligent people are able to identify emotions in themselves, but also in others. So this means that also other people should express their emotions. A second branch of this emotional intelligence concept is that persons that lead emotional intelligence or behave emotional intelligent are able to use their emotions. So emotions are not only in the way of our other doings. Emotions help us. They are important information. They offer important information. There are emotions that help us to be more focused. For instance, if we are a little bit tensed or a little bit angry, frustrated, we have the ability to be more focused to solve the problem that gets us tensed in the first place. So we could really try to use our emotions. Yeah? Or if we are feeling sad, this means that we have lost something. And we might have to think about what we lost and how to get it back or how to move on from this. Also, if we are in a little negative mood, we might get more creative because this signals that something has to be solved. We need more creative solutions. A third branch of emotional intelligence is the ability to understand emotional language. So the knowledge that those emotions help us, also the knowledge how emotions evolve, how they are processed, how they combine different emotions. This is something emotional, intelligent people are know and have learned over the years. Yeah? They know what information comes from different emotions and what the emotions do signal to them. So they understand emotions. And this leads to a higher acceptance of their own emotions. And in the end, also emotional intelligent people are able to regulate their emotions when the emotions are in the way of their behavior or in the way of social relationships, if they are not helping. Yeah. So they can use their emotions but also regulate them to reach certain goals. And this is what is expected by leaders. And we have a lot of studies that show that emotional intelligent leaders, be it in an organization or in a community, are more successful. They have better relationships to their followers, and they are more successful in terms of organizational performance, for instance. And maybe this is because emotional intelligence leads to a more appropriate response to the emotions of others. And this is seen as effective leadership. Yeah. And this effective leadership is defined by being seen as a better and understanding leader by the followers, and the followers are healthier and are more satisfied with their jobs and their work, but also the leadership leads to a more successful outcome of the company or the community or the organization. So this is my message. Don't always suppress your emotions. Use your emotions and accept the emotions. Try to understand the emotions of others and yourself. And then you will get more healthy and also more successful. Thank you very much for your attention.